say? You're the one holding up the show.
Obviously, you don't think the boy is guilty.
I have a doubt in my mind.
But you haven't really presented anything that makes it possible for us to understand your doubt. There's the old man downstairs. He's heard it.
And the woman across the L track. She saw it.
We know who lost Switchback that night, but we don't know where he really was. At the movies?
And earlier the night, the kid and the father did have a fight.
And while that doesn't prove anything,
So you know.
All right. I have a proposition. I want to call for a vote. I want the 11 of you to vote by secret ballot, and I'll abstain. If there are still 11 votes for guilty, I won't stand alone. We'll call in a guilty verdict, and we can all go home.
Okay, let's do it.
That's all right with me. Does everyone agree?
I certainly am.
Let's roll it.
Perhaps this is best.
All right.
Guilty. 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 Guilty.
That's 6.
Please. That's 6 guilty. 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 Not guilty. Guilty.
How do you like that?
Who was it? I think we have the right to know.
Who did it? Who changed their vote?
Is that any way to talk of a man's life?
Are you talking about the life of the dead man or the life of the murderer?
I want to know. Who?
So do I.
It was a secret ballot. On this we all agree.
And no one looked while we did it, but now I want to know.
A secret ballot. If the person wants to remain a secret, then they should have
Secret? There are no secrets in here. I know who did it. What's the matter with you? You come in here and you vote guilty. And then this slick preacher starts to tear your heart about some poor kid who couldn't help becoming a murderer. So you change your vote? And that is the most sickening
Now,
thing.
what is it?
I agree with you that the man is guilty, but let's try to be fair.
Hold it. Be fair. This is exactly what I'm saying. We're trying to put a guilty man in the chair where he belongs, and all of a sudden we're listening to fairy tales. Now wait a minute. Now you listen to me.
All right, let's try to keep this organized.
It isn't organized, but let's try to be civilized.
Please, I would like to say something here. I always thought that in this country we had the right to have unpopular opinions. This is the reason why I came here. I wanted to have the right to disagree.
Do you disagree with us?
Well, usually I would. In this case, I agree with you. But the point I wish to make is that in my own country, we do not
Now when we have to listen to the whole history of your country.
It's always wise to bear in mind what has happened in other people's countries, when people aren't allowed to disagree, but we are. So let's try to stick to the subject.
Yeah, let's stick to the subject. Now, I want to ask you, what made you change your vote?
I want to know too. You haven't told us yet. Why do you think I changed my vote?
Because I do. Now get on with it.
There's nothing for her to tell you. She didn't change her vote. I did. I was going to tell you. But you were just so sure of yourself. Sorry. Okay, you'd like to know why? I'd like to tell you why that kid's a
She
lying.
wants to talk.
Thank you. This gentleman chose not to stand alone against us. That's his right. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone. Even if you believe in something very strongly. He left the verdict up to us. He gathered for support, and I gave it to him. Want to hear more? The vote is 10-2. That's fine. If the speech is over, let's go on.
If there was anything in the kid's favor, I'd vote not guilty.
I don't see what it is.
Neither do I. They're clutching at straws.
As guilty as they get, that's the kid, I suppose.
It's that one juror that's holding out. But he'll come around. He's got to, and fundamentally, he's a very reasonable man.
I guess so.
They haven't come up with one real fact yet to back up a non-guilty verdict.
It's hard, you know?
Yes, it is. And what does guilty beyond a reasonable doubt really mean?
What is a reasonable doubt?
Exactly. What is a reasonable doubt? You've got to have law and order. You've got to draw the line somewhere. If you don't, everyone will start knifing each other.
There's no real doubt there.
Those two think so. I wonder why. I really wonder why.
Well, you do hear stories sometimes about people who've gone to jail or even died sometimes, and then later on, things turn up.
And then on the other hand, some killers get turned loose and they do it again. They squeeze out on some technicality and they kill again.
So, I got a little excited a minute ago, and I guess you know how it is. Nothing personal? Okay.
So, supposing you answer me this. If the kid didn't kill him, then who did?
As far as I'm concerned, we are here to decide whether or not the boy on trial is guilty. We're not concerned with anyone else's motives.
I suppose. But who else had a motive?
Well, the father was along in years. Perhaps an old grudge.
Remember, it is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. This is an important thing to remember. Everyone's a lawyer. Supposing you explain to us what reasonable doubts are? This is not easy. So far, it's just a feeling that I have. A feeling. Perhaps you don't understand.
No, I don't.
A feeling? What are we going to do? Spend the entire night talking about our feelings? What about the facts?
You said mouthful.
The phrase the old man heard was, "I'm gonna kill you." And 15 seconds later, he saw the boy running downstairs and out of the house and heard the father's body fall.
Where's the reasonable doubt in that?
That's right, and let's not forget the woman who lived across the street. She looked into the open window and saw the boy stab his father. She saw it.
That's right. Now, if that's not enough for
It's
you.
not enough for me.
What is enough for you? I'd like to know.
How do you like this guy? It's like talking into a dead phone.
The woman saw the killing through the windows of a moving elevated train. The train had 5 cars and she saw it through the windows of the last 2 cars. She remembers the most insignificant details.
So what do you think about that?
I don't know.
Supposing you think about it. Give me your paper. Might as well play some tic-tac-toe now.
This isn't a game!
Who do you think you are?
This is a man's life!
Now, wait a minute.
All right, let's take it easy.
I have a good mind to walk around the table and give him a piece of my mind.
Please! I don't want any fights with you.
Did you see him? The nerve, the absolute nerve. Didn't mean anything by it. How about sitting down? This isn't a game. Who does he think he is?
Weren't we talking about moving elevated trains?
Yes, we were.
So?
Alright. How long does it take an elevated train to pass a given point?
What does that got to do with anything?
How long would it take? Guess.
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
Neither would I.
I don't think they mentioned it.
What do you think?
About 10 to 12 seconds, maybe.
I'd say that's a fair guess. Anyone else?
I would think about 10 seconds.
About 10 seconds, yes.
Alright. We've agreed. 10 seconds. What are you trying to get at?
This. An L train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point. That point is the window in which the murder took place. You can almost reach out of the old woman's window and touch the L tracks, right?
Right, I tried it.
So?
How many of you have ever lived right next to the L tracks?
I was pretty close.
They make a lot of noise, don't they? I've lived right next to the L tracks. When your window is open and the train goes by, the noise is unbearable. You can't even hear yourself think.
So you can't hear yourself think. What's the point?
The old man downstairs said he heard the boy say.
No, he said he heard the boy scream.
The old man downstairs said he heard the boy scream, "I'm going to kill you." Then 1 second later, he heard the body fall. 1 second. That's the testimony, right?
Right.
The woman across the street said she looked through the windows of the last 2 cars of the L train and saw the body fall. Right?
Right.
So?
The last 2 cars. The last 2 cars?
What are you giving us here?